everybody, and welcome to Good Luck High Five, episode 547.
That's right. It's a podcast.
That's true. What's happening to you?
I don't know. My brain just absolutely forgot everything else that it could have possibly said. It's a podcast.
Well, yeah.
The end. What can I tell you for certain about this show? Well, it's a podcast.
That's accurate.
That's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. The end.
The end.
The
Okay,
end. Do
great.
you know what?
Good
If you
enough.
play it, it's for you. That's what I'm here to say today. You get no more from me.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
Ooh, I got more from you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oop, there it
All
was.
right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Our brains are hip and with it today.
Oh, absolutely. My brain is
Absolutely.
functioning.
It's functioning. And we're going to talk to you today about Historic Brawl
Yes, we are.
because, Megan, you've been playing a fair
I
amount
have.
of it.
Do you know what? I've just been having a nice time.
It's a fun format.
I got inspired because it was the midweek magic last week.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, do you know what? I have always loved, I particularly love Tatiova.
Yeah, you are a huge
So
Tatiova
much. And I was like, why would I not do this? And then I played it and then I was like, why am I not doing this more?
Historic Brawl, why am I not doing this?
more? So we're going to talk to you today about like, hey, what is out there in Historic Brawl right now? Because it's pretty fun. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for something to do, there's just like a queue for it. You know, you don't have to pay any gems or any gold or anything.
Great.
Just build yourself a little deck, play as much as you want. Good times.
Good times. And that's what we're here for on Good Luck High Five.
Good times.
Good times. Next week is MagicCon Barcelona, by the way,
Yes.
fam. We're going to be there. We're so excited to be there.
Yeah.
So we're going to be working the event for the Pro Tour. It's Pro Tour Lord of the Rings, which is
Wow.
a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Pretty sick.
There's
Pretty
going to
cool.
be Pro Tour Lord of the Rings draft and Modern.
Wow.
Which, let me tell you, the last time I thought about Modern,
Was it 4 years ago?
probably.
I think that was probably
I mean,
it.
seriously.
That was
it's been a while.
2019 was the last Modern Pro Tour.
And Modern is like, if you asked me 4 years
Yeah.
ago, what is the Magic format that everybody loves, I would say it was Modern.
Yeah.
So-
Toot my own horn a little bit.
Yeah.
If you were like, what even happens in Modern later on this week or early next, I don't remember when it comes out. I have an article.
Great.
That talks to a couple of players about why they're excited to have Modern come back as a Pro Tour format, but also it includes like a little few sentence history of every Modern Pro Tour that has ever happened.
Holy cow.
Every single one.
How many have there been?
It's only like 8 or 9.
Wow. So this is like, doesn't happen all the time.
Exactly.
That
Ever since
Modern
2011,
PT.
there were 8 or 9 of them. And then it's just kind of like a cute, like, what deck was that? Like, what deck came out of it?
Yeah.
Who won it? Like, what was the big thing that happened? So, check it out. Get hyped for Modern.
I am. And we're going to hype you up for Modern and that Pro Tour next episode, everyone.
Yes.
I just want you to know we're not forgetting about the Pro Tour and Modern stuff that's
No.
coming next week.
Next week.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. So today, Historic Brawl, hashtag fun mode.
Yeah.
This show's on fun mode this week. And we're also going to have Megan fulfill her promise that she made to you all a few weeks ago.
It's gonna be story time with Megan. 5 minutes, all of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
And the Silmarillion. Just
that
kidding.
is not happening.
5 minutes, can she do it?
The answer is definitely no.
Well, you better
The
try.
answer is that I must.
You must, but also you can't.
But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be like a lot of The Hobbit, and then by the time we get to the end, we're going to be able to sum up the Return of the King in one sentence.
I mean, I'm ready. If I don't care about the rest of
So-
it, I just want Return of the King in one sentence.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's going to happen.
all right, great. I'm looking forward to that. So that's all
Yeah.
the stuff you can expect from this beautiful show this week. In addition to me yelling about the fact that I'm not drinking a highball on this show.
I'm really sorry.
I'm drinking whatever the hell this is, a True Energy Wake Up Blend Orange Mango BS.
Wake up blend as a 3-word phrase makes me want to smack someone.
You might ask why, Maria, are you not drinking the beloved drink that is always to your left on these podcasts? The answer is because Anheuser-Busch has discontinued Highball.
Wow.
And I can't tell you the emotions I felt when I learned this.
I'm really sorry.
I was crying in a Whole Foods. And so I come to you now on bended knee. If you are Anheuser-Busch, if you know Mr. Anheuser-Busch,
if you yourself are Anheuser-Busch,
Please tell them, don't take this beloved drink away from us. It's a seltzer water with caffeine in it and some vitamins, and that's it.
Anheuser-Busch is actually the name of a woman named her name is Ann. Heiser-Busch.
Related to the Bush presidential family.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I don't know.
I'm really sorry.
If you're someone who knows of a good substitute, it cannot have any artificial sugars in it, okay, everybody? I don't want that. I want sparkling water with caffeine, period.
Do you know who you should really blame, Maria?
Who?
Bud Light's transphobic drinkers. If I'm being honest, like, I truly think
They're responsible for
is
this?
who is to blame for this.
I'm so mad at all of them for multiple reasons.
All of them for multiple reasons.
Anyway, just had to let you all
Let's
know.
put the blame where it belongs.
They will always be on transphobes. The blame is always on
Always
transphobes.
on them.
It's just how it is.
Everything that's bad, that's at the root of it, okay?
Thank you all for standing there with me on Maria's soapbox of
Do you know
anger
what?
moment.
You told me beforehand that you were going to have a rant about something.
Yes.
And I should have, I didn't know what it was.
For sure you would know what it was going to be
But
about.
I should have immediately known.
You know, I was like, look, I have a podcast platform, and if by some weird chance Mr. Anheuser-Busch, or excuse me, Miss Heiser-Busch listens to our show, perhaps I can persuade her to say, you are creating a hole in the market. And I feel like that's the opposite of what you want to do as a company.
I will say, you are right.
I'm saying nothing exists that fulfills this role.
I think
nothing.
most companies are looking for holes in the market that they can fill. Few companies are going out of their way to create a hole in the market. To open a hole.
To open a hole in the market.
To clip open the patch that they made.
And I would not be coming to you all with this personal grievance if it were not vital to my existence as a human being.
It's true. I expect Maria to call me any morning now telling me she dead.
I'm like, that's it. Goodbye. My soul leaves my body and I'm forced to drink whatever the hell this is. It tastes fine, everybody, but it's not the same. So it has sugar in it. Anyway, moving on.
Really
Patreon.com/Jill.
And all of this has been to say, become a supporter of our podcast. If you are not Miss Anheuser-Busch with the power to bring back highball energy drinks, you can have the power to revive Maria by making a Patreon pledge in
It's the
any
closest
amount.
thing to a highball for me, everybody.
In any amount.
Any amount.
Truly, thank you so much to everyone who is already a patron of this podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who hangs out in the Discord, making it such a fun place to hang out.
Yes.
Always letting me know when I need to get my hashtag stonks on MTG Arena.
Get your stonks.
Which is really, honestly, very helpful.
Absolutely.
Just remembering.
Stonks. I mean,
thank you so much to everyone who's a patron. Consider becoming one. We will make a silly pun from your name.
We would love to dedicate
this episode to you.
Patreon's rolling out a new function as well, where you can join at no cost to yourself to preview kind of like what the vibe's going to be.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's up there yet or not, but it's coming if it's not already there.
Interesting.
Which is kind of like preview before you try before you buy.
Yeah. Like a car.
Like a car.
But you're already listening to this, so aren't you already trying?
You know, but I don't know. They also are like you can put stuff up and charge people for it. So we could make an additional episode and be like, here's this additional episode for $1 or whatever. So
interesting.
I don't know. We might try and do that sometime in the future. But that's for the future.
What a day.
What a day. So patreon.com/GLHF Magic sponsor an episode.
Also, Card Kingdom.
Yes.
CardKingdom.com/GLHF, the place to go. Commander Masters comes out in just a few weeks.
Yes, August 4th.
Get those sick Commander Masters decks, those precons. Get the cards from it, you know.
Have you seen some of these variants from Commander Masters PS?
Yeah.
They are gorgeous.
They're
I
pretty
love,
cool.
what do you want to call them? The profile cards, where it's just like somebody's face in profile.
Oh, yeah, those ones are great.
Let's look at some of these. I mean, there is the Urza one, Urza Lord High Artificer, and people are thirsting over this, and you're like, you're thirsting over a genocider.
Wow.
But if you...
Not the first time in history it's happened.
If you want to thirst over a genocider, you know, what you do in your own time, you can do it with Card Kingdom and buy this variant, which, to be fair, looks very cool.
He does have hashtag daddy vibes.
It is huge daddy vibes energy. There's one of Teysa Karlov.
Yeah.
which is cool.
Really pretty.
There's one of Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger.
Wow, if you want to really talk about thirsting.
Megan is telling on herself.
No, I'm super. I want to be super clear that I think the Eldrazi are real gross.
But if I was playing this card, this is the one I would want. I think this looks cool. I like these face cards.
they're very cool.
I don't know what else to call them. I think they look awesome. Anyway, they'll be available on cardkingdom.com/GLHF for you to purchase once the cards come out. But you can pre-order any of the decks right now. Or if you want to buy a box and draft with your friends, it's draftable at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. It's time for the randomizer.
Ooh, all right, Maria, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, here you go.
Megan has pulled up a random card for me on scryfall.com, and I have to guess the card from the art. This is a land, surely. What's happening? Okay, I'm looking at what appears to be a swamp or a bog of some kind, and it's at night, and there's a moon, but is there a second moon?
I think yes.
I think this looks like two moon situation. So if this is a land, why are there two moons? Is this an anti-blood moon?
Moon on the rise. Anyways.
Is this an anti-blood moon card that the text says, if there's a blood moon, it don't?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how you nailed the exact wording on the card. Well, that's it.
Think about hiring me for templating.
It don't.
This card is a land, and it's called Twin Moons.
Okay.
And it restores all lands to their original tech.
Okay. I think that's legit.
That's a terrible card.
Although I think like there's the problem like
Nice
if you play it and a blood moon is out, it takes the text off this land, so it can't restore.
No, this goes on top of the blood moon.
Okay.
It stops any and all.
This
Judges
land
hate
says
this card.
it go on top of blood moon.
Judges hate this one card. It defies all rules of magic.
All right. This is a land.
Oh,
it is called
God.
Everglades.
All right.
It enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an untapped swamp you control to its owner's hand.
I knew it had something to do with swamps.
Tap, add colorless black.
So why are there two moons?
Because it adds one moon is a colorless moon and one moon is a black moon.
Oh, okay.
That
makes so much sense.
Yeah, definitely makes
Okay,
sense.
well,
Anyways,
I got so close.
It's kind of pretty.
It is kind of pretty, honestly.
Bob Eggleton.
This is your card. Be prepared.
Oh my. Okay. I am looking at what I cannot describe. Okay. It's like some kind of cross between like a Wicker Man situation and that it's like a body made of what looks like wooden slats, but also it looks kind of mummy-esque.
Yeah.
Right? It looks a little bit like it's like wrapped in like wood or like in basket weaving material.
Yeah,
maybe.
it does.
It looks like a mummy made of basket weaving materials.
Yep, great description.
Except that one arm has like unraveled and just has a hand at the end of it. It's like a partial arm, unravel, hand at the end. And the person also does not have a normal person face. I would say if I were to unwrap this and guess at the shape of the face underneath, it would be, you know, like that movie Penelope where she has pig nose.
Yeah, it kind of does look like a pig nose.
It looks like maybe they
face.
have pig nose underneath.
This card, I'm going to give you a clue. The name of it relates to what it does, to its function.
Interesting. I'm going to say that this card...
It's a pun.
Is, okay, FYI. This is a white card, or it's an artifact. Okay. This card is an artifact, and it's called Unraveling Entomber.
Ooh,
Unraveling Entomber is the name of this 4-mana 2/2 artifact, and when it enters the battlefield, an opponent must sacrifice a creature, and you make like a little 1/1 skelly.
Ooh, cute.
There you go.
I like that idea. I thought you were gonna say you make a copy of it, except it's a 1/1. Does that exist in Magic?
Oh yeah, that does. That exists a lot in Magic. Right. That is probably a 1/1 skelly. Like you make a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 skelly.
I love that. Okay, so this card is much simpler than what you described.
Oh.
It is, in fact, an artifact.
All right.
So you did get the vibe of that, right?
Yeah.
The name of this card is Mannequin. Okay. It is 2 colorless for an artifact creature construct. Tap, add colorless. It's a 1/1.
Wow.
That's
All
it.
Right. That's
From
it.
Tempest.
Very, very spooky looking art.
This
man.
art, I saw this art. It
you know
just
what?
creeped me out.
Put this mannequin in a storefront already.
Seriously.
What cowards are not putting this mannequin in a storefront?
This was reprinted in Iconic Masters and in Jumpstart 2022 with different
I
art.
remember this. I remember this Jumpstart mannequin art. This mannequin art is way creepier in my opinion. Even
it is pretty
because
creepy.
of the facelessness of it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
It has a creepy lack of face.
I would put this into the category of like just a little creepy
It's just a little creepy, man.
magic cards.
Yeah,
Top
I'm
10.
into it. I'm into it being creepy. I mean,
It's time to talk historic brawl.
all right, Maria. Like I said, I was drawn into this by it being the midweek Magic last week.
Yes.
And just being a ton of fun. I was like, why wouldn't I do this? I do love, as you know, I love playing Tachyova, Benthic Druid.
Yeah.
So this is the original 5-mana Tachyova. She is 3 green blue for a 3/3. And she says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and you draw a card. And so obviously this deck is just about like putting so many lands into play constantly.
And just
I
drawing
kid you
all
not,
of the
so
cards.
you draw so many cards. You have so many ways to like make your maximum hand size increase or like have no maximum hand size.
Oh, wow.
With like Reliquary
Great.
Tower. So there have been so many that I literally have to like scroll all the way across my hand. It's pretty amazing. It's just so cool because you can do things like you have a bunch of the sacrifice lands from Streets of New Capenna.
Yeah.
You know, where they
Yes.
come into play and you immediately sacrifice them and go and get
Go get
another
another
land.
land.
And so you can do that. And then you also have the card Splendid Reclamation, which is 3 and a green, and it says return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So sometimes you have this amazing turn where you have Tachyova in play, and sometimes even a Lotus Cobra, right?
Okay.
And then you play Splendid Reclamation.
Gross.
You get like 3 sack lands back from your graveyard. So
Yeah.
you get those 3 triggers, and then they all immediately sacrifice. And then you get 3 more triggers. So you get like 6 ETB land triggers from Tachyova and Lotus Cobra. It's just incredible. You draw so many cards, you gain so much life. I just have people attack me over and over, and my life
you're like,
total
who
is
cares?
just like 30 anyways.
Wow.
Yes. So highly recommend this one. You usually win by playing something like a River's Rebuke, which is a sorcery for 6 mana that returns all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand.
Nice.
So you just do that to your opponent, then attack them with a couple of really big things, which is a lot like that's a lot of fun. You have a couple of ways to take extra turns, like Time Warp, Karn's Temporal Sundering, and Alrund's Epiphany. So sometimes you'll do stuff like that as well. It's just, you know, I just recommend it. This one's a good time if you like drawing cards. And, you know, who doesn't like drawing cards?
So Historic
pretty
Brawl,
great.
if you've been taking a break
Yeah.
from Historic Brawl, just to set a refresh in your head,
Yeah.
You've got 100 cards. Singleton. And you've got your commander or your, what do you call them in Brawl? Your Brawl Master?
I think they're still called like commanders.
Your general. Okay.
Yeah.
Your commander,
Your general? I
Tachyova.
don't know.
And the good thing about Historic Brawl, like you said, as Singleton, is that you don't have to worry about crafting a bunch of super expensive cards because you only need one of them of any given card.
Yeah.
Which is really, really nice. And people are just kind of doing nonsense in the queue.
Exactly. You can just, because like it's not a ladder or
Right.
anything, like it's not ranked. So you just jump in and play against people. And everyone's just playing the deck that they want to play. No one's out like, I'm grinding these Historic Brawl matches for all my wins.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of doing the thing that you most want to do in life.
Yes. Oh, wait, I also just have to quickly mention
Yeah.
that sometimes you play a Cultivator Colossus with Tachyova in play, and then
I was just looking. I was
your
like,
life is just really amazing.
Cultivator Colossus.
This is the one that it's power and
4
toughness.
green.
Yes, are equal to the number of lands you control. When it ETBs, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process.
Good grief.
So to be clear, the way it works on the stack is that like all of this happens, and then after you're done with whatever chain of events Cultivator Colossus has,
Yeah.
then you'll get all of your battlefield triggers from like Tachyova. But it still means like Cultivator Colossus, usually I will literally play 3 to 4 lands off this card, like from my hand. And also I'll draw 4 cards, and then Tachyova, like it resolves, and then Tachyova is like, draw 4 more cards.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Wow.
So highly recommend. And do you know what? Also, I love it. Sometimes it's great, and also it's deeply beatable, right? Like I have also gotten beaten.
yeah.
And that's the fun thing about Historic Brawl 2 is that
Yeah.
you can play really powerful stuff, but it never feels, I have yet to feel overwhelmed by a deck being like, this deck is unbeatable. It's like, no, everything's great, but because it's Singleton, sometimes you don't draw like the great half of your deck. Sometimes you draw all the cards that are in there as filler and none of the payoff. And you're like,
You draw
okay.
you draw the filler, not the spiller, as we say in gardening.
Wait.
The thrillers, I
All
suppose.
right. Yeah, there you go.
I've got to say this deck looks very, very fun, and that's
so
another
fun.
reason I friggin' love Singleton is because it's so variable that every
you get
game
to-
just feels
yeah.
different.
You get to play so many different cards,
Yeah.
right? Like, I will see cards still after playing this deck like a bunch of times. Every once in a while, I still see cards that I'm like, I hardly ever see this card.
Oh, you friend, I
Like,
forgot
oh,
about
this
you.
great card.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right, but if that's not your vibe, there's some other cool decks that I wanted to talk about first that I've played against.
Yes.
I've seen a couple of Atali Primal Conqueror decks out here.
Ooh, Atali Primal Conqueror.
Yeah, so this is one of the new cards from March of the Machine. It's red green as a commander because its backside is red green, right? It has like the red green. It is red and it has a green activated transform.
That's right.
And so it's red green. This is 5 red for a 7/7 trample. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card.
I love this
You may
card so
cast
much.
Any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. So a lot of these are ramp decks. So there's like, right, you play like Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves and Ragavan Nimble Pilfer to try and make those treasures.
Yeah.
And lots of stuff. And you try and cast Atali pretty early. I did have an opponent cast Atali and then get Emrakul Promised End, like was the card that they exiled from the top of their deck. I got wrecked. I got wrecked.
That's great.
Big time.
That's great.
It was wild.
Well, the thing is, you see a card like Atali and you're like, surely that can't be your commander. That costs
7 mana.
7 mana. But with all of these mana dorks, did it seem like totally doable that they were casting it?
Yes, I had an opponent cast this on like turn 5.
Gross.
Exactly. Like it was also, right, a ton of fun. Just like, it was also really cool. And you know what? When they cast that Emrakul the Promised End off the top of the library, I was like, respect.
Yeah.
I respect you.
I think I just love that combo so much. I'm playing this card and like spinning the wheel and
Yes.
seeing what you get.
Exactly, right? Sometimes you get something great, but also you might get like Arcane Signet.
Right,
You're like,
exactly.
okay.
You're like Arboreal Grazer, and you're like, oh, well,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
I've got my monkey now. That card's a monkey, right? No, it's a beast.
It's a little
It should be a
beastie.
sloth, but it is just
Yeah,
a beast.
It's
Okay.
a little beastie.
Yeah, I think this would be one I would want to try out.
Yeah, like I said, I highly recommend it, even having just played against it. It seemed like a great deck that did some really cool stuff.
All right, awesome. And if you don't have all of the cards, it doesn't matter. You can just put in
Just
what you
fill
have.
in stuff.
Yeah.
Like do you already have a card that has a similar like kind of function?
Fine.
Great, just do that instead.
Okay. Well, both of these have been sweet so far.
Yeah. There's also one I wanted to talk about that I played against the Adeline Resplendent Cather deck.
Ooh, yes.
She is just like the lead of a little aggro deck that also totally wrecked me once.
I mean, you don't always think of aggro decks in multiplayer formats.
Yeah.
But Adeline, she's been the star of aggressive decks since the moment she appeared on the scene. 1 white for a legendary creature, Human Knight, star for vigilance. Her power is equal to the number of creatures you control. And then when you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. I love this card.
Yeah. Pretty great.
I have loved it since the first day I saw her beautiful face.
This deck just like ran me over. So, good on them.
Yeah, you're running just a bunch of like tiny little cards, all of the ones that are great and are played
Yeah.
in multiple formats. Dauntless Bodyguard, Esper Sentinel, Giant Killer, which has its dual modes for adventure.
This deck literally has like a dozen 1-drops and 2 dozen 2-drops.
I love that in this deck there's Isamaru Hound of Konda, which is a single white 2/2. Do you remember this good boy?
He's such a good boy.
He's a legendary dog. Get in the
Nice.
deck.
He's so cute.
Selfless savior. There's so many good dogs that are cheap
yeah.
white mana. It has my favorite card in the history of Magic the Gathering in this deck. Do you know which card that is, Megan?
Oh, which card?
None other than Adanto Vanguard.
Oh, I should have known. Yep.
When people from Wizards of the Coast tweet out like, what is your favorite card and why, I always try and answer because I really want them to make another Adanto Vanguard.
Wow, and I would like nothing more than for them to never make another Adanto Vanguard.
Do you all remember this card? 1 white for a 1/1. As long as it's attacking, it's +2/+0. Pay 4 life. It gains indestructible until end of turn.
Yeah.
That's all I want in a card.
Although Maria, Seasoned Hallowblade came in M21.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I don't think
It
it's as
doesn't
good.
attack for as much.
Yeah, and also you have to discard
Yeah.
for that one. And I think paying 4 life is something I'm more interested in.
Wow, Maria is just getting real fast and loose with her life total over here.
Yeah, I am. I love that card. So yeah, obviously this deck, I'm a huge fan of this as well.
Yeah. So like I said, like it's just been so cool. I also, when I started looking into this, there's already a ton of them that also are made around some of the Lord of the Rings chords.
Oh, nice.
Chords.
Some of the Lord of the Rings chords.
Well, some of these little Lord of the Rings chords. So you can play an Aragorn the Uniter deck, which is
Wow.
green, red, blue, white, which is pretty sick.
Aragorn, unite my colors. Almost all of them in this deck.
Yeah, and so Aragorn says, whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. Whenever you cast a red spell, it deals 3 damage to target opponent. And whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets what is that, +4/+4? Jeez, yeah, until end of turn.
Yeah. That card's great.
I know this card is just about like you're casting spells of all the colors.
This one seems very, very fun.
Yeah.
Like
This is just like, what kind of colorful nonsense do you want to do?
it's a toolbox commander on the battlefield. So normally we think of toolbox cards as you going to your sideboard to get what you need. But in this case, Aragorn, you're just like, wait, what do I need at any given second?
Yeah.
I'm just going to play that color of spell because I have all of them. Hey, this is awesome.
Yeah. If you want to do, oh man, I've also played against this deck, and this deck just seemed so sick also, which is the Tom Bombadil 5-color Sagas deck.
Yes, Sagas deck.
Because he is all about sagas. And so, like, when this card starts going off, it is super cool.
Tom Bombadil. What does Mr. Tom do? Let's take a look here.
So Tom Bombadil is white, blue, black, red, green.
Great.
For a 4/4, as long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible.
I'm in.
Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. So as soon as you cash a saga, you for free get new saga.
Oh my god.
And so like as soon as I realized, they played it right, and like they at some point they had like 2 sagas out, so we had indestructible because they were both on chapter 2, and I was like, gosh, this is good, but whatever. And then one cashed, and like Tom Bombadil triggered, and they just put a new one into play, and I was like, wait a second.
I see what's happening here. I love this deck too because the sub theme is enchantments, which makes sense because you're playing with Saga. So you play with cards, which I am a huge fan of, like Sithis Harvest Hand, which is green-white for a 1/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and you draw a card.
And it is also, it's just so cool, right? This list that I'm looking at has literally like 38 enchantments, and they're like all sagas. You're playing just like almost like every saga that's ever been made.
That's
Which
so
is,
cool.
to me, just like
What a weird way to win the game. I love this.
Cool. Exactly.
My question is, how difficult is the mana? But I mean,
They seem to be doing fine with it. Like
Okay.
my opponent. The only reason I beat this person is because I drew River's Rebuke, and I had enough power in play
Sure.
to like bounce everything that they owned and then lethal them.
and you
in
can
one turn.
play it with the sweet Phyrexian sagas too, like Elishnorn and Jin
Yes.
Gitaxias, those new ones.
It's just like it's
This is nonsense that I'm here for.
yes, right?
All right.
I should have told you about this one
This is
right away.
great. A+ Tom Bombadil. By the way, all of this, if you want to brew for Commander, I would think Historic Brawl would be a fun place to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do some stuff on Arena, which you can't do with Commander, this seems to be like getting you a little bit closer to that. And if you're interested in doing a Tom Bombadil deck in Commander, this might be a nice entry point to test some stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that seems sweet.
I know, right? So there's just been some really cool stuff. Basically, if you can think of a legendary creature that you enjoy that's legal in Historic, you can probably make like a cool brawl deck around it, right? There's more.
Yeah.
There's Gishath Sun's Avatar, which is like a Dinos deck,
I love Gishath.
which is pretty cool. It's like all about, right, like you cast this and you put a bunch of big dinos into play. Like, what else do you want to be doing, man?
If you like spiders and you like Lord of the Rings, Shelob, Child of
Spooky.
Ungoliant, that card has now spawned,
Yes.
if you will.
a
High five
speeders-
myself. A
just
spiders
little
deck.
Speeders deck.
This is very cool. It's got a bunch of spiders,
Like,
Chainweb,
a lot.
Arachnir, Mirkwood spider.
It obviously has little Spider Queen.
Yes, you need a spider queen.
You need Spider
All
Queen.
spiders are in this deck, basically. If it's a spider, it's in this deck, I want to say. Which, looking at this deck right now, is giving me the creeps.
Yeah.
I'm a spider hater. It's true. I know they're great for the environment and they eat mosquitoes.
You spider hater.
I'm a spider hater, but I mean, what a cool
Yeah.
idea for a deck, by the way.
There's also, yeah, right? Like, there's also just some cool cards that are like, oh, I haven't really, like, this always seemed like a cool card, and I haven't been able to see it shine yet. Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty is one that comes to mind. This is the 3 green blue for a 3/1. It has Cascade, and spells you cast with
Oh,
mana value
yes.
6 or greater have Cascade.
I love this card. I've done some really disgusting things with it.
Right? And so it's like, oh, this is a deck that's built all around being like, let's cast really big, let's ramp, cast really big spells, and cascade.
So the person behind MTG Goldfish, Saffron Olive, has also got some budget ideas for you
Yeah.
too. If you don't have a lot of room in your arena account for rares and mythic rares, wild cards, that kind of thing, there's a budget Ayula Bears deck here.
I love Ayula.
Which Ayula, she is queen among bears, everybody.
She be queen among bears.
And this is just a beautiful little Bears Matter historic brawl deck, which
Because do you know what? Bears do matter. I want to be
Bears
super
matter.
clear that bears matter
Bears Matter, everybody.
in the world.
Just in the world. There's so many beautiful bears in this deck that you can play with. Ayula, of course, queen among them. I think it's a great little mono green build. So if you're interested in some budget decks, you can head to mtggoldfish.com, and under the historic brawl category, Ayula Bears is one of them, which I think is very, very cute.
Yeah.
So lots of options for you in the world of historic brawl.
It's just so much fun. Like, I highly recommend. I wanted to talk about it because
You've inspired me.
Because I just, like I said, it was like totally random. I haven't played it in a long while.
Yeah.
And it was just the midweek magic that got me into it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've been missing out because I am having a blast playing this. It's so much fun. So
Remember,
give it a
everybody,
try.
historic brawl is still there.
It's still there. That's the most important thing.
All right, Megan.
Oh gosh,
It's time for the moment of
see
truth.
It from here.
Oh, you can. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
try and see.
Just angle it a little
Can you
so
see?
that we can
Can you
both.
can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see this, everybody?
boy.
Can you see this? I've got my timer here on my iPad ready to
Okay.
go for
Woo.
Megan to tell us the entire story of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings in
Okay.
5 minutes or less. I'm going to hit start the moment that you start. So this is a very special story time with Megan, everybody.
All right.
Are you prepared?
As much as I will ever be, Maria.
Okay. Ready, set, begin.
Okay, we open on the Hobbit. Bilbo Baggins is a Hobbit, which is like a humanoid with hairy feet, and they like love being cozy. And honestly, Hobbits are kind of like hashtag goals, right? Like they just love being cozy,
They are.
and I also love being cozy. For some reason, Gandalf, who's a wizard, picks Bilbo to be the burglar for these dwarves who want to go reclaim their treasure from inside a mountain. And Bilbo's like, "Why me?" And the dwarves are also like, "Why this guy?" But Gandalf's like, "He can do it. Don't worry about it." And also, honest question, why is Gandalf so invested in these dwarves? He like saves them from some trolls and takes them to Rivendell and saves them from goblins in the Misty Mountains. But why is why is
don't
Gandalf
know,
so
honestly.
invested? We never talk about it. Anyways.
I don't know.
Exactly. In the Misty Mountains, everyone's captured by goblins, except Bilbo, who like rolls away or something and just gets left behind. He finds a ring on the ground, and then he has like this creepy riddle off with like a nocturnal creep named Gollum. He puts on the ring. He escapes.
Nocturnal creep.
He escapes from the mountains. Everyone is chased by wargs and then rescued by eagles and a bear guy named Bjorn. Whatever happened to that dude?
Eagles always
I know.
rescuing people.
And
God.
Bjorn was, I think, is like kind of. It sounds hot. I remember him as in my imagination being hot. Anyways, don't see him again. Anyways, Gandalf is like, there's some other niche interest of mine has come up, so I have to leave. Peace out. They get trapped by some big spiders, and then they get trapped by wood elves, who are just elves that suck. And Bilbo puts the captured dwarves into barrels, and then they all float down a river to Lake Town, which is a town on a lake. Great job naming that place, team. Then they all go hang out on the mountain, and Bilbo chats with Smaug, the dragon, on the treasure, and learns that his weakness is getting shot in the heart, like lots of us.
My weakness is death. I don't know about you.
Smaug goes to burn Lake Town to the ground, and some archer shoots him because some bird was like, shoot him in the heart. And then like all the people in the wood elves go up the mountain to be like, give us our share of treasure. We're the one who like, we're the one who killed that dragon. And he burned the town to the ground. And Thorin the dwarf is like a jerk who's like, no. And then there's almost a big fight, but then there's a big fight with the goblins and the wargs instead. And then Bilbo goes home, and all the hobbits are like, that's one weird dude now. And he doesn't really have friends anymore.
Oh shoot! My screen went. Hold on, I'm turning back.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Keep going. It's
Fellowship of the Ring.
234. You have 234.
It's Bilbo's 111th birthday, and he throws a big party, and then he disappears once again, being hashtag goals. He leaves this nice ring to his heir Frodo. Gandalf is like, Frodo, you got to get this thing out of here. Dark Lord Sauron's power is growing again, and like things are gonna get bad.
Yeah.
So Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin all take off. The ring wraiths chase them. A mean tree eats them. They meet a guy? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Named Tom Bombadil? Question mark? Question mark? Who saves them. He's super weird. In Bree, they meet Aragorn, whose professional job is saving all of these dum-dums. They all head for Rivendell. Frodo gets stabbed. It's a bad time. Also, the ring wraiths get swept away in a flood. Gimli, Gandalf, Boromir, and Legolas join the party. They go through the mines of Moria, where a Balrog pulls Gandalf into a chasm, and then they go to Lorien, where they meet Galadriel, who gives them some nice gifts, and then they go down the river on a boat. Some orcs find them and split them up. Boromir tries to take the ring from Frodo. Frodo decides to be all tragic and heroic and go to Mordor on his own, and Sam is like, but I love you, so I'm going to come with you. All right, That's Two Towers. Merry and Pippin are captured by orcs. They meet Ents, who are big tree people. They're all going to go fight the orcs of Isengard, which are led by Saruman, who used to be a good wizard, but now is a bad wizard. Gandalf is back. He's Gandalf the White now, and it's like sick. the Ents and Saruman and Merry and Pippin, like, they all go, first they stop in Rohan for a little bit, where they're like, this guy Wormtongue has a bad name that should have told you he was a bad dude. He's making you a spooky coward. And the writers of Rohan are like, you're right, we are spooked cowards now. And so they're like,
One minute remaining.
Okay, so all of like the writers of Rohan and everybody, they go to Isengard. And first, this book is mostly about the big fight with Saruman, who's a bad wizard now. It's a big battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
The good guys eventually emerge victorious, essentially, okay?
Got it.
Like, Frodo and Sam, in the meantime, they make friends with Gollum. They go to Mordor. They just like literally walk up to the gate and they're like, we can't go in here. And Gollum's like, I know a secret way. They meet Boromir's younger brother, Faramir.
Yeah.
And he's like, peace out, guys. I'll help you out as much as I can. They go, Frodo gets trapped by a big
25.
spider. Sam thinks he's dead. Okay, the Return of the King.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Now we're going to Minas Tirith, which is, like the big city of Gondor, right? It's nice and pretty. Aragorn's going to be king someday. The guy who's currently king is kind of like a little meanie about it.
10 seconds.
They have a big fight with Mordor. Like everybody fights. Frodo tries to throw the ring into Mount Doom, but Gollum bites his finger off. They all go to the elf place across the ocean.
0. That alarm sounding means you have done it in 5 minutes or less. Congratulations.
It was definitely not or less.
I really like how you condensed the last movie. I thought that was very well done.
Thank you. Like I said, it was going to be a lot on The Hobbit and consecutively less about everything else.
You telling me about those hobbits in the barrels on the river scene,
right?
Really brought back
that was really
memories
evocative for me
of watching the Hobbit movie, which was just awful.
Yes. Well, the reason, like, that book is not very big.
No.
Like, it was when J.R.R. Tolkien still knew how to edit himself.
Yeah.
And he wrote a nice short little adventure book.
Yeah.
And they were like, what if instead we made it into a slog?
They shot that film. The reason it's one of the reasons that's not so great. I mean, like, it had a lot to live up to, but in a high frame rate, which makes it look like you're watching a videotape as opposed to a movie, which are normally shot in 24 frames per second to give it that nice look. It's not like hyper realistic or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of theaters couldn't actually show it in the high frame rate. But if you did happen to see it, it just looks uncanny valley. It looks like you're watching like a camcorder you know,
Weird.
and it's just like, that's not what I'm looking for when I see a movie. I want some soft, nice, pretty stuff, not like I'm looking at somebody's home video
Films. We
from
want soft,
1993.
nice, pretty
Anyway,
stuff.
I just had to mention that,
There you
everybody,
go.
because I was thinking about it. But
I also just wanted
good
to,
job.
like, seriously, why was Gandalf so invested in those dwarves?
It's a good question. I don't know.
He goes through a lot of trouble.
I mean, Gandalf is kind of like a weird wizard, right? Like
That's true.
He is invested in the lives of these people, which is
I think just because.
in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because even Saruman is like, what's up with you and these hobbits?
Yes, even Saruman is like, what's up with these
Like,
hobbits?
dude, you are basically an angel. You're a divine being. And you're like up here, like smoking weed with the hobbits. Like, what's your deal, yo?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, again, hobbits, maybe Gandalf realized that hobbits are hashtag goals.
Yeah.
He's like, these guys got it figured out.
figured it out. They're having
They live
second
in
breakfasts.
cozy homes and eat frequently.
Yep.
What more? Very honestly, what more do you freaking want?
They have an adorable pub. There's festivals where they have fireworks on
Yes.
birthdays.
I want to live in a cozy house that I own and eat a lot of meals.
What do you think the hobbits' healthcare situation is?
Really great question.
Do you think it's universal healthcare? I just have,
Do you
if
know
I'm
what?
going to go in
gonna
there,
go with yes.
I want to know what I'm
We're
getting
gonna
into.
say yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, you know?
It's like a little hobbit welfare state.
Exactly.
Where they garden and they eat cheese for
Yeah.
every meal. Okay, this
Perfect.
sounds really good.
Anyways, and they smoke pipeweed
Pipeweed, yeah.
with wizards.
And when Gandalf comes back as Gandalf the White, he's gone for like millennia, you know, in his experience.
Yes.
And he comes back and he's just like, what was happening again? What's,
Yeah, that's right. He does basically have wizard amnesia.
She's like God is like, oh, I feel like I was doing something with you. Oh yeah, you used to call me Gandalf.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
That's right.
Like, think about what that
I had a
experience
name once.
would be like if you left for like 2 millennia. You're off with God doing God knows what. You come back to Earth and it's still the same time. No time has passed.
No
for
time has
like
passed.
a month.
It would be absolutely. It's like I mean, we are all still haunted by the inner light. The Star Trek episode, right?
Yes, I mean, yeah,
Where
same
Picard
thing.
literally
kind of.
goes and like lives a full lifetime on another planet, dies of old age essentially.
Yep, gets married, has children, has grandchildren,
kids. Yes,
learns to play a flute.
exactly. And they're like, BT Dubs, we brought you here to witness the end of our world.
So someone would remember our
So
civilization.
someone remember our civilization. And then he has to wake up and just be like, hey, actually, buddy, that all happened in one day here. So just go back to being yourself the way that you were 40 years ago.
He's like, I'm gonna need a moment to process that. But they're like, ooh, you don't really have a moment because probably the Borg are coming.
Exactly. Like, legitimately, that civilization was just doing like the best thing that they knew to be like, remember us.
Yeah.
But it could be argued that what they did was torture.
I mean, seriously,
I believe,
can
like-
you imagine going back and then you have to live your whole life again,
Yes.
picking up after you've had children, grandchildren, you've lived an entirely different life.
An
and-
entirely
and they're
different
like,
life
"Boop,
that you
you're
were
back."
forced into in the middle of your life.
You would just, I don't know how you adjust back. I don't know
Exactly.
how.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, a great episode of Star Trek. If you haven't seen it, everybody,
Yeah.
The Inner Light, stream it. Wow. And the same thing happened to Gandalf.
And the same thing, basically, the same
Point
thing
is,
happened to
the
Gandalf.
same thing happened to Gandalf.
Okay. Jean-Luc Picard is the Gandalf of Star Trek.
Wow, he is.
He is.
And he does go through the transformation from Gandalf to the Grey to Gandalf the White after he becomes Locutus the Borg.
Yes.
You could argue.
You could
One
argue. We are arguing.
Do we need to start a Star Wars pod? I mean, Star Wars. Oh my God, kill me. Star Trek podcast?
Wow.
I mean,
Probably.
here's a little preview for you all. If you
Yeah.
liked this, let us know.
Message us. We could give you more of this.
There's more where this came from.
Specifically, it's going to be a Star Trek and like times whatever crossover of the week.
Yeah. Well, human beings, and anybody who is now Gandalf the White, thank you for listening to this podcast today, which is a podcast, which we established at the top of it.
Or any hobbits who are just out there
Yeah, absolutely.
in your hobbit hole.
we want to know
having
about
your second breakfast.
your healthcare system.
Send us a
the
message
last
about your
question we need to know.
healthcare system, please. We would love to know. Also, I guess, like, what is education like? But also, someone has pointed out, like, Okay.
Is there?
There's a point at which someone is like reading a book by Freddie Bulger and like, did he just self-publish? Is all Hobbit
Bilbo
literature?
self-published his book. He
you're
just
right.
wrote it
Like-
with his pen.
And so do all like is the Hobbit publishing industry exclusively self-published?
I don't think they have
A publishing industry.
a printing press.
So it's all handwritten?
That's what I
I don't
assume.
know that I can live in a pre-printing press society.
Well, you just invent the press for them
Wow.
in Hobbitsville.
Okay, but
that
then
might change the whole dynamic.
going
though.
back to Star Trek, am I violating the Pride Directive?
Well, obviously,
pretty egregiously.
you are super violating the Prime Directive by giving the Hobbits a printing press.
Okay. That's what I think.
Oh God! Hey, thank you everybody who's a patron over on patreon.com/glhfmagic. And to Card Kingdom, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Head on over there for your Commander Master stuff that's coming out August 4th. Next week, MC Barcelona chat.
Yes.
Get you ready for that.
Yeah. We'll be recording that later this week.
Yes.
So it'll come out a little bit, or it'll be recorded a little bit ahead of time, come out as per usual.
Because we're going to be on some planes.
Yeah.
Or we'll be actually in Spain already by the time that our recording date would roll around.
Thank you so much to everyone who makes this possible, that possible,
Yeah.
us talking about Star Trek times Lord of the Rings.
Great crossover.
Possible.
Great crossover.
By being a patron over at patreon.com/GLHFmagic. Consider becoming one today. It really means so much to us.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. We'll give you a shout out next episode if you become a new patron or increase your pledge.
Yes.
So everyone, see you next week.
Shout out as well to Card Kingdom.
Yes,
Cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
I already shouted them out. Where were you?
Well,
Were you off with God?
I was having my Gandalf vacation.
Gandalf vacation. That's a great way to put
Which
it.
just means checking out of reality for as long as necessary.